Welcome back, Wolfpack Brawlers here, and let's start off Fan Fridays with a battle from Jatochi, who said that Spewpa is going to be some kind of double battle hero. And for a second I think, alright, which Pokemon is Spewpa? And it is the Vivillon pre-evolution, that's what I thought, but it had me going for a second. I'm like, alright, I know it's not a fully evolved Pokemon, so what can this thing do? And my initial thought is going to be like Rage Powder, Eviolite. I'm pretty sure it gets Rage Powder. It probably does, and that can make a lot of sense. Might be a pretty tanky Pokemon if you play it like that. So that is going to be Lopunny switching out and Spewpa switching in. Alright, we're going to see where this goes because, yeah, I was expecting like a fake out from the Raichu. So Raichu goes for the fake out, and Metagross probably going to throw out the Zen Headbutt to try to predict that Mega Evolution, but it endures the hits pretty well, taking about half its health from the 2 hits right there. And that is going to be Scald onto Raichu, putting Raichu in a 2-hit KO situation, and Spewpa is just going to protect itself. Alright, so Raichu going to Thunderbolt onto Milotic. This is actually a pretty tanky lead right there, and Zen Headbutt onto Milotic as well. So the opponent not thinking that Spewpa is any kind of threat. The Protect prediction not really paying off at all, but the Scald going to 2-hit KO the Raichu is what it looks like, and now we still have Metagross with a little bit of damage, and that is going to be Landorus for the switch in. Landorus using that Intimidate onto Milotic, but Milotic has the competitive, so it's actually going to double its special attack instead, and I don't think Spewpa cares about losing too much attack. Actually, now that you think about it, with all of the just like super usage that Landorus has in doubles right now, why not Scald? Or like, why not just Milotic? Milotic against Landorus is super broken when you break it down like this. So that is going to be Rock Slide, misses the Spewpa, but we have Recover on Milotic, so with all that damage tanking, going to try to get some health back, and that is going to be Protect once again. I don't know about that. I feel like the opponent's just trying to go off of that Rock Slide, so you might have been able to eat that Zen Headbutt and then trade the kill, but it is going to be a knockoff from the Landorus. So this isn't a Scarf Landorus, trying to get a little bit more damage in there. And not Rocky Helmet's going to get knocked off, but that's going to be Scald onto Landorus, and that has to be a KO with all the damage boosting. Milotic surviving with just 1 hit point. Whew, it's getting interesting because now it's Talonflame. And that means that there is like yeah, both Pokemon probably get fainted at this point. Spewpa doesn't have that Protect though, and Goodra comes in to try to tank up the hits. Yeah, this is like a really interesting situation. Tries to go for the double Protect, doesn't get it. Brave Bird was headed for the Milotic. That's actually a really good idea, just trying to reduce as much recoil damage as possible. But Goodra is going to slow down Talonflame just a little. And now the rest of it, pretty interesting to think about. So Iron Head, that is going to hit Spewpa. That is going to finish off Spewpa. And it did get that, it just did eat a lot of hits. So I mean, this might be a good battle for showing how tanky it is. And now it's Lopunny with Goodra. That's going to be pretty bad for the Talonflame. Might be just Banded Talonflame or something like that. Oh no, Talonflame going for the double Protect, so make it to where Fake Out, not going to be too much of a problem. So Fake Out, no evolution though. So we don't get to see the Mega, probably keeping it safe from the Zen Headbutt. Talonflame going to Brave Bird. Oh, I think that was supposed to be headed for the Lopunny. Lopunny though, going to tank the Brave Bird. Somehow Lopunny with the Encore going to protect, lock down the Metagross, and that's it. So now he's got to spam the Protect. Probably not going to get it next turn. Did get the back-to-back. Goodra going to Rock Slide. Rock Slide, that's definitely handling Talonflame. And then Metagross, now it's done. Like, there's really nothing the opponent could do except hope that Protect works until Encore goes away. But then we have Goodra throwing out some damage, or we also just have Milotic coming in for that one last turn, so if it can get that, that could work out pretty well. Just get a Scald, maybe get some burn, maybe get some damage, and Goodra. It's actually a physical Goodra. Throwing out the Fire Punch, not getting crazy damage, but that's not what we need right now. The Encore doing enough work in general. Milotic going to recover right there, so just get a little bit of health back. Actually, not a little bit of health back, enough health to survive something. Metagross is going to get that Protect, and the Encore ends, but now it's Ice Punch onto the Goodra, so decides to not go for the Milotic, but we know Milotic might be faster in this situation now after the Gooey, and it's also just going to be able to tank up whatever Metagross can throw out. So Scald, is that going to be enough damage right there? Yes, it is. So even if anything else happened, Zen Headbutt probably not going to be enough damage, and Milotic walks away with the victory. Now, the cool thing is, we can go and watch another battle because there was a lot of hype about this Spewpa, so I can't wait to see what the other battles have for it. There was actually 3. I'm only going to do 2 for now, so we're going to see where this one goes. And I do like the idea. I feel like maybe that was just not the best battle for Spewpa, even though it still did a lot. It was able to tank up the hits. It is a Rage Powder set, so it probably is comparable to Togetic or Moongus in some way. I want to see if there's other moves or if it's just like a pure Rage Powder, just ultimate tank, and that could be pretty cool as well. So another Eviolite Pokemon I have neglected to mention just from not thinking it has the potential, but it does. So let's see how this one goes. This time leading with the Spewpa. Alright. That's where things get interesting, because leading with it with the Lopunny. No like switching or anything. So now we get to see the full potential potentially of this Pokemon. And I mean, that's a lot of Encore setup. You Rage Powder into the Encore, you get a free Fake Out. We can see how this goes. So that is going to be Mega Lopunny right there. So it is a Mega Lopunny. Alright, it isn't like some kind of tricky tank Lopunny. It survived the Brave Bird. I mean, that's pretty ferocious right there. And it's Mega Lopunny versus Mega Gallade. The battle of epic fighters showing down right here in this very own battle. So Spewpa going to protect. Just going to be that wild card until the opponent knows what's up. Alright, so that's going to be damage. And with the Heat Wave, Protect is your best option. It's not going to do anything if you Rage Powder during the Heat Wave. Lopunny tanks up that Heat Wave. And the close combat, because of that inner focus, not having the respect though. Right, yeah, that's right. You don't want to go and fake out the Mega Gallade at all. Here's a lesson, kids, which means that, that would have been a great time to go for the Rage Powder, because then you would have just endured the close combat. So that's a mistake that once you do it once, you never do it again. And Chandelure does not want to deal with the Scald, but Suicune does. So now it's Suicune with the Gallade. Now, okay, how's this one going to end up working out? Actually, Spewpa switched out. I'm like, where's the hard carry Spewpa coming in? And it looks like it's the same team before. It's going to be Goodra, Milotic with the Mega Lopunny and the Spewpa. So knock off onto Milotic. That's going to reduce some damage before removing that Rocky Helmet that we saw last game. And Milotic just going to Scald, get the damage onto Gallade, and it's not going to be enough, but the burn does come through. And is the burn going to be enough to knock it out? Yes, it is. That's pretty interesting right there. Now, I'm wondering, no, Mega Gallade has a high special defense, so the burn pretty necessary at that point, and Chandelure comes in. Chandelure going to Energy Ball. So Energy Ball onto the Milotic, trying to get that super amount of damage in there, is going to drop these special defense, but that means competitive is actually going to proc out of nowhere, and Suicune with the Ice Beam onto Goodra. I don't know if that's a Pokemon you want to be hitting with really much of anything special, so that's Scald. That might now seriously threaten the Chandelure, and it does. Ooh, a critical hit as well. The overkill. Hyper overkill right there. Pretty insane. And then Goodra's going to go for the Rock Slide. Just going to try to convert a little bit of damage on Suicune. We know it's physical. Not packing the Outrage, though, from what I can see. Maybe, I don't know. Landorus does come out, and we know that Landorus can have the damage, but that's another competitive boost. That's pretty crazy. I don't think Milotic can tank it, so Milotic is going to switch out. Spewpa is going to come in, and that does give you opportunities to, Rage Powder for the Milotic later. That could get pretty interesting. Suicune's going to be pretty tough to deal with this team. Hopefully Spewpa's sitting on like some kind of Toxic or something like that. That might be able to make the team. And it's just going to be Goodra, Spewpa taking a little bit of damage, Suicune protecting, and ooh, Landorus. It actually has the, I believe, Yache Berry. Yache Berry going to make Landorus save this, like, survive from the Ice Beam. But Goodra didn't do a lot of damage even with that. Like, without the Yache Berry, it still would have survived, because it seems to be more of a physical Goodra. Spewpa is going to get the avoid on the Rock Slide. Goodra is going to tank it, and will it tank this Ice Beam on top of it? No. Spewpa going to tank that one this time, and Goodra going to convert on the Ice Beam, so that is going to be Landorus going down. And it looks like this team just is too tanky for Landorus, so that's at least one thing working in its favor. It's just so tanky. Pokemon have a hard time getting around it. Ice Beam onto Goodra, going to be a little bit of damage, and that is going to be the Rock Slide onto Suicune. So now we get to see, like, where the tankiness is. Stun Spore, but the Stun Spore is not going to land. 75% accuracy, pretty devastating. I could see that working as like a supportive move, but I feel like the Toxic is more needed because there is a little bit of a lack of damage from what I've seen on this team. But the Stun Spore does land on the Suicune, and now we can just kind of bring in whatever we want. We got Milotic. Well, actually, Milotic's the only Pokemon left, so it's Milotic in that Stall War with the Suicune. So I mean, that's going to be Recover. I was going to say Retect. No, it's Recover. So that's going to be Recover on Milotic. Going to try to gain damage over the Suicune. Suicune with the Scald. Going to try to hit Milotic. Maybe get that burn in there. If it gets the burn, that could work out pretty well. And Milotic just going to trade the Scald back. And then we can see what Spewpa does as well. Just sitting there in the corner, kind of protecting. Has the Electro Web. See, this is what I was thinking. Like, it can carry the Electro Web. So I don't know why you'd want to paralyze and lower speed with the Electro Web. And that's going to be a Citrus Berry on the Suicune. So Suicune, it wants to make that last stand. It wants to be so tanky. But with the Ice Beam and Scald being the only offensive moves, Milotic can sustain over it forever, even if it does get burned. While not being the most optimal thing, Milotic, well, isn't too threatened by it. So that's going to be Spewpa with the Protect. I feel that the Protect spam on Spewpa is a little bit too much. It is a really tanky Pokemon. It could be throwing out more damage from that Electro Web at times. But overall, you know, you can't really complain at this point. Oh, Spewpa does get the Protect on that Scald. Milotic, it got a free Recover for that as well. And that's just going to be Scald damage and a little bit of Electro damage against just the tankiness of Suicune. So this battle's pretty much over. We know that Suicune just cannot take out under any circumstance. Doesn't have the sustain. Also, it showed to have the Citrus Berry instead of the leftovers. So now we just get to see the Scald taking out Spewpa right there. And yep, it's just a war at this point. We can't get the burn onto the Suicune because of that Stun Spore. But the Stun Spore is what helped Milotic get that tankiness going or get the outspeed for the Recover. So now, you know, it's just a Scald war between two epic tanks. A little bit of bird damage going to slow down the Milotic, but again, the sustain in the end will win out pretty much no matter what. So Milotic has the Recover, get a Scald, Recover, get a Scald, Recover. Suicune going to Scald. Eventually, Suicune's just going to run out of Scald as well. That's a potentially real threat, and burn damage doing more than anything at this point. So Milotic, oh, the opponent decides to forfeit right there. In any case, it did work out pretty well, so I do see the potential as a Rage Powder Pokemon. I said I feel Toxic could make up for a bit of a lack of damage, because once Mega Lopunny goes down, it seems like the team has to rely on like Scald and Physical Goodra, which isn't bad, but against a tankier Pokemon, like a Suicune, you might be able to round out battles quicker. Other than that, I think it works out. Just understanding the scenarios, because like with the Gallade, you know, you don't think about it until it's too late. So after that, you know, everything else could work out pretty well. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle. Going to lead off with Spewpa showing some tankiness, and I hope you all have a nice, well actually no, don't have a nice day yet. This is only the first Fan Fridays. You still got a lot to watch today.